Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.
Good day, listeners. You're welcome to another edition of Money Radio. Today being Wednesday, the segment is Techie Nigeria. I'm your host, Case Hammond. You're welcome. Today we are discussing the issue how the cyberspace became domain for criminals. Yes. In the studio here with me is an IT specialist and a cyber crime specialist also. Not in a negative sense, in a positive sense. So he is Haniel Jafaru. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
He's my guest today, and we're going to be discussing that topic: how the cyberspace became domain for criminals as criminals. So, Haniel, before we go on to that discussion, please you educate our viewers first on a few questions. Number one, what is cyberspace? And then you might like to merge that with what is cybercrime? What is cyberspace? And what is cybercrime?
Okay, well, cyberspace it's a physical, imaginary world of interconnected digital technology.
Right.
So it's a world that it's physical. We can't see it, we can't feel it, but we know that we are there. That's why it's physical. Then it is an imaginary world. It has this level of, let's say you pick your phone, I want to go online. You are where you are, but you're online already.
Yeah.
You get, so that is the imagination that comes with the word cyberspace. Now, cyberspace generally it's a world that facilitates communication. It's a word that facilitates interaction. It's a word that facilitates expression. Now we're talking about expression of both humans and technology. Yeah, that's why there are emojis.
Okay.
You get it's an expression. There are emojis. There are you find out that there are downtime. My system has crashed. That is the technology giving you an expression that the system is no longer working.
Yeah.
You get, so it has this level of it's a combination of a physical reality and also an imaginary reality, bringing them all together. As long as you have it enables you to interact, as long as it enables you to communicate, as long as it enables you to give out expression, then that is cyberspace. There is no clear and ambiguous or clear definition of that word cyberspace, but we should just understand that it is imaginary and it is physical.
So
now I'm talking about cybercrime.
All right.
Cybercrime is any form of crime that holds or occurs, takes place starting from initiation and concludes on the cyberspace.
So what are those tools one can use to be in that cyberspace with which you can commit cybercrime?
Well, you can use digital technologies like your computers, your laptops, your mobile phones, and anything digital that enables you to get connected to the internet is a tool that enables you to get is a tool that facilitates cybercrime and get connected to the cyberspace, which facilitates cybercrime.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. So there's this word hacking. What is hacking? Because physically, if you are hacking somebody, it's like using an axe.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
how is that connected to?
No, that's completely different.
Right.
Well, hacking in cyber security or hacking in the from the cyber world is when you use technical know-how to bypass a system and gain unauthorized access into a system. So it means that you must first of all understand the system, you must understand the vulnerabilities in the system, you must understand certain things about the system. Then you would now exploit the vulnerability using the technical knowledge that you have about the system. So it can be not only a system, but generally digital technology. It can be digital phones, that's your mobile phones or your smartphones. It can be cameras that get connected to the internet, because cameras can be hacked. It can be your AC that is connected to the internet. It can be hacked. It can be anything that
You mean just the air conditioner?
Yeah, there are ACs that are Internet of Things. So any technology that any of those household technology that enables you to be connected to the internet, smart homes, they are hackable.
Okay. All right. What about identity theft?
Identity theft. Identity theft is a form of the word theft there would mean stealing, taking somebody's identity. That's just the meaning of identity theft. But the challenge with identity theft is that for every identity theft, there is usually two victims. The first victim is the person whose identity was stolen.
Okay.
The second victim is the person who becomes a victim of that person that his identity is stolen. Because let's say, for example, someone's car is stolen and the car is used to rob a bank. The bank is a victim. The person whose car is stolen is also a victim.
Okay.
You get that's identity theft. I can pick up your identity. I take your identity. I put it on the cyberspace. I use your identity to defraud people because you are a celebrity in quotes, or you are a popular figure. So people begin to align with, because they believe what I say, because I am you.
You are using my image.
Your image, exactly. Okay. So I'm using your image to sell something that maybe you're not aware of it, but it's not something you would have done if it is you. But because I know that there is a value of there are fans that are attached to your personality in the cyberspace, so I use your identity to sell certain things to them. Now, by using your identity to sell those things to them, they would buy those things thinking that they are you, thinking that you are the one that is selling it. In real sense, you're not the one that is selling it.
Is that used in the advertisement world, or?
No, not really. It's, let's say, for example, you go online and you find out that the president has 25, if not more, social media accounts.
Wow.
Yeah, but he only has one. That is his own. That he operates, and it's known by everyone. But if you go, you will see Muhammadu Buhari.
And people get
defrauded because you will think that you're discussing with Muhammadu Buhari. Someone can just come up and say, okay, I need somebody that would send me an idea using one of those accounts. And people will think that, okay, the president needs someone that will sell an idea to it. They will begin to pitch their ideas, and that person is using the identity of the president to defraud other persons. So the president is a victim, and those persons that will be defrauded, that will fall victim of that crime are also victims.
So, I have a few more questions to ask you.
Okay.
But before we go there, how rampant is this? How widespread it is in our domain, Nigeria?
It's very rampant. Very, very rampant. In fact, that was the reason why social media accounts had to come up with the likes of verified feature. That's the one very blue button at the account, the account name of every social media account. When they find out that you're a celebrity or a public figure, you can apply for verification. So they will verify and ensure that, okay, that is the real account, and that is the account that should be associated with your personality. So they would put in that symbol called verify. So anyone that sees that verify knows that is the real account. No, so every other account that is not verified is not you, even though they may still carry your identity. They carry your date of birth, they will carry your name, they will carry your pictures.
Is that the same with digital identity?
Well, digital identity is your identity that is in the digital space. Digital identity is your identity that is in your system. Identity that you keep on, let's say, what's it called? The NIMC identity. You were trying to do NIN, national identification number now. Now all those identities, they are in the site, they are in a database that is digitally saved, that has been saved in the server and all that. So that's digital identity. You get, now someone can pick those identity, that identity as it is, now use it to clone you. Now, when they steal the identity and use it to clone you and use it for further crime, that's where the theft comes in. Stealing the identity alone is a threat, but it can be considered to be a breach because the identity is digital. It is in a server or in a database that is somewhere resident.
So tell us, with what NIMC is doing, what the federal government is doing through NIMC, what's your take? Is it a good thing? Because their account, that is NIMC's account, is hackable. From what you have explained, is it a good thing? What are the security whatever that have been put in place to ensure that our accounts or our identities with them are not hacked? Or
I have not really seen the system. I don't know everything. Let me start by saying that everything, as long as the cyberspace is concerned, everything is hackable.
Everything.
Yes. It is not, there is this popular saying within the cybersecurity community that we have two categories of companies in the world. We have the companies that have been hacked.
Okay.
And we have the company that will be hacked. So there is no option of company that will not, because we are humans and we are not perfect. The codes that we use in writing these programs, they are not perfect. It is still humans that will review the codes. They are not perfect. Human errors are there that can be exploited. Even though the code, let's work with the example that all the codes are perfect, everything is perfect. There is a technique that is called social engineering that helps you that manipulates you to do certain things. Now, because humans are designed generally to trust truthful information, and to release a level of trust to people that give them truthful information. If I begin to give you truthful information, there's a way that you begin to release trust to me.
Yeah.
And because of that, I can manipulate that trust. Now, manipulating that trust can be from in the cyber world or in the cybersecurity community is considered to be social engineering. So even though all the technologies, you have everything perfect, your codes are perfect, everything is perfect, humans are not perfect because humans are the one operating the systems. So humans can be manipulated. Humans that are operating the system now, the humans that are operating the system that is perfect can be manipulated to now give access to hackers who would now exploit the system as a result of them unknowingly doing what the biddings of the hackers.
Let me divert a little bit.
Okay.
What are the probable damages, let's say, in the eventuality that such a thing happens? What are the probable damages that we could, I'm talking about to NIMC's, a site like NIMC's site?
NIMC.
Mm-hmm. Or any other government institution that has a
database.
Yes, a database that should be tightly guarded.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the point. It's not about NIMC, even though NIMC have their
yes,
own, but it's not about NIMC. It's about database.
Yeah.
The identity of Nigerians needs to be secured. Let's start by asking ourselves, who designed the system? Who designed the system? If you go to the dark web, the citizens of Turkey, 49 million of them, all their data, their name, their date of birth, their mother's name, their address, everything, 49 million of them, they are on the dark web, floating everywhere, free of charge. You can go there and download it, and you have everything about every citizen of Turkey as at the time that it was breached. So what have we done as a country to see that we don't fall victim of that same thing?
And of course, Turkey is more advanced, technologically speaking.
Well, yeah. If you want to look at it from that perspective, then it means that we should start holding our database custodians. But it's beyond. It's just beyond the data. The security of the system needs to be put in place. We need to ensure that this data. What encryption are they doing? Are they using full encryption? You are giving access now to companies. What level of verification have you verified those companies to capture citizens? Because you can't just give companies that are registered in Nigeria access to the database of Nigerians.
Yeah.
You can't just do that. You have to ensure that they have a level of verification. How trustworthy, what's their level of integrity, how secure are their system? Have you gone to their sites to ensure that, okay, the site of this guys is secured? Do you even know the location where they use in carrying out the registration from? Because it goes beyond just having that identity. It goes beyond just giving approval. I'm not even talking about names alone. Every organization that holds Nigerian data should ensure that they've done due diligence in making those data secured.
Just before we go on the break, because I'm sure we'll soon go on the break, let's educate our viewers a little. What about digital propaganda? What is it?
Now, propaganda generally is when you use an information. You use an information to publicize points of view or to push a cause. The information can be a story, it can be a word, it can be an image. You get, as long as that information is used to publicize your point of view or to publicize a cause, then when it is publicized with the help of the cyberspace, that is where it's considered to be digital propaganda. But generally, propaganda is when you use an information to publicize a cause or to push an ideology. Now, when you put that ideology on the cyberspace and the internet, you chat with people to share that ideology. It is considered to be what? To be digital what's it called? Digital propaganda. And digital propaganda can come in many ways and in diverse ways. And as long as Nigeria is concerned, the worst propaganda that we may have find ourselves in is the word change. It is a word. And because it is a word, it was publicized to citizens of Nigeria, and we key into that word. We bought that word, and we use that word to elect the current administration, the current what's it called, a political party that's in the aim of affairs.
All right, thanks, let's take a short break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll take a short break. We'll be back over the next few moments. Welcome back, viewers. This is still the Money Radio, and we are on Techie Nigeria. With me in the studio is still Mr. Jafaru. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
So, you had educated our viewers on a number of definitions. So, let's go to the main issue now. How did the cyberspace become a domain for criminals?
Because everything that happens in the physical world happens in the cyberspace.
All right.
Everything.
So please expatiate a bit.
Okay. Every form of crime. There is no crime that happens in the physical world that does not happen in the cyberspace, as even up to kidnapping.
How?
Good. All right. There is a form of crime that is called. There is a malware that is called ransomware.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
You've heard about it. And what does it do? It encrypts your data. You have your data, but you can't open the data. That's a form of kidnapping. And it asks for ransom. And it tells you that, okay, you pay. If you don't pay, I'll not give you the decryption key that we used to use to decrypt the data. So you will not be able to have access to your data. In fact, they've grown to an extent where they tell you that if you don't pay, that they will publicize those data on the internet. So if the data is considered to be sensitive, you would have no option but to pay. Just the way if we value humans, just the way we because of the value we place on humans. When kidnappers kidnap someone and say, okay, you have to pay, you don't have an option but to pay because of the value that you place on the person. So now the value you place on that digital data, be it your CV that is on your system or image of you or nude pictures of you that is on your system, or whatsoever thing that is on the system, if you value it and you value the effect it will have on you if it is released on the internet, you have no option but to pay. So, but beyond that, every other thing, what form of crime happens on the physical that does not happen? Just give me and I will give you the internet, the cyber representation of that crime. I usually say except what's it called, torturing. But why?
So, before we go to that point,
Okay.
Recently in the National Assembly, there was this debate about how to transmit the results from the voting centers to the headquarters where
Mhm.
those votes will be counted. Some people were for, some people were against,
Mhm.
and the reason for those who were against, the reasons they adduced was we are not yet at that level.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons that the thing could be stolen within in that transit.
Mhm.
What do you have to say about that? Is that
The question I would want to ask is a question of money and power. We have been able to effectively use it as long as money is concerned. So these are two very powerful ingredients as long as the world is concerned, money and power. You can have money and don't have power. You can have power and have money. One of them brings the other. But let's look at it from those two perspectives. We've been able to deploy technology in the area of transmission of harmony. You can transmit 1 billion from where you are. You don't care. It doesn't matter the technology that you're using. What matters is that you can do that.
Yeah.
You can transmit 1 trillion from where you are. And you don't care. So why would you now care if it's just election results?
Election
Why
is
would you
important.
think if I can do this thing from my mobile phone, I can transfer funds from my mobile phone, because it's all about the technology that we use. Because no matter how you want to look at it, if even Estonia does that, Estonia is the only it's a digitalized country. Everything in Estonia is digitalized. Everything. The only thing you can that is not digitalized in Estonia is marriage.
But it has
And
security implications, like you talked about the hackability of these sites. Everything can be hacked.
yes, and that is where mitigation comes to play.
Please explain.
Good. Now, in information security, there is what's called mitigation, information security, risk mitigation. Risk mitigation is where you put in measures to ensure that even though you are hacked or you are breached, the breach does not affect. It has the effect of the breach would not affect certain things. You can mitigate it. It's all about the willpower. That's the truth of the matter, because we can build in encryption in every transmission. We can have the highest form of encryption. If we say the problem is the transmission, we can use blockchain technology if we want to use it, because it has the highest. So far so good. Blockchain technology has the highest form of encryption now, so we can use blockchain technology for the transmission. If that is the case, if you said your concern, because they've not come out to tell us that this is their concern, they're only saying that we've not grown to that extent. Okay, at least your concern. What is your concern? What exactly is making you feel that we've not gotten to that extent? Is it that the data can be breached in the course of transmission, or the data can be manipulated before transmission, or the data can be manipulated after transmission? Let us know where the issue is or where the risk is. Then when we look at it, okay, this is where the risk is. How do we mitigate it? It's not about just saying that we've not gotten there. Because if you are waiting to when we get 100% there, it will never come.
Recently, between 2015, in fact, the hard feelings continue between Russia and the US. I'm just giving you an example over election meddling. Of course, the Democrats accused Trump, the Republicans, of they accused the Russians of meddling in their elections in favor of Trump. At that level.
Okay, now let us understand that. See, we've missed the point of now that case between Russia and US, the 2016 general election between Russia and US.
Yeah.
There was no direct attack on the votes. There was no direct attack on the what's it called, the voters. There was no direct attack on the people that was voted on. What they did was to influence. They used propaganda. What they did was to influence voters. They did not attack the vote, neither did they attack the vote, what's it called? They only influence voter using social media, and they did that via propaganda. They created social media accounts, over 2,000 social media accounts. After creating social media accounts, they use that to sell information that against Hillary Clinton and for Trump. That has nothing to do with there was no direct attack on the election. So if that can be mitigated,
there was no direct rigging.
There was no rigging. No, it was just a way of influencing this person. They hacked the Democratic Committee, the National DNC server. Mm-hmm. They released emails of Hillary Clinton on the public domain. This made the public knowing that, okay, so Hillary Clinton has sent this kind of email to this kind of person. No, I'm not voting for Hillary Clinton. That was what they did.
Okay, so in 2020, the tables were turned. Mm-hmm. What happened there?
Well, there was no. That's exactly what we were even supposed to do. We're supposed to. They went because after the whole issue, FBI set up an investigation. The intelligence committee, the state intelligence committee, set up an investigation. One other committee also set up an investigation. They unified all the conclusion of that investigation. Then they brought up a solution. They brought up a solution that now made 2020 election better. So they were able to mitigate it.
Okay, so Anil, you have educated us enough. We have an understanding. We can appreciate the extent to which these activities can actually make or mar our existence as an international community. Yeah. So, what can government do to mitigate cybercrime in the cyberspace? I'm talking about government. I'm not talking about the Nigerian government. Governments. The Committee of Nations.
To start with, the internet has made globalization possible.
All right.
So if we're to fight the crime on the internet, it's supposed to start from the top.
Okay.
That means from the UN.
All
the
right.
UN itself, they are supposed to bring forth certain treaties. Countries are supposed to come together to sign certain treaties that are related, that would help them in fighting this form of crime. But beyond that, there are certain countries that are more exposed to cybercrime than other countries. So what is it that these countries that are not exposed have done? And this country that are exposed, what is it that they have not done? So we can begin to look at countries like Estonia, countries like Australia. What is it that you people are doing that we have not done? Countries now have digital police. Countries now have cyber police. Do we have that in Nigeria? No. EFCC are the one trying to see if they can function in that role, but no, their roles, the act that establishes them limits them to economic and financial crimes alone. If my phone gets hacked, who do I go to? Can I walk to a police station now and say my phone is hacked and they will know what to do?
Having said that, since we are vulnerable, so to speak, we as individuals, I'm bringing it back to Nigeria now, we who use the internet, we who are in the cyberspace, what can we do to protect ourselves? Because as you have just related it, we really do not have any protector. We are vulnerable. So what can we as individuals do to ensure or to avoid being cybercrime being committed against us?
Well, the first thing you will need to do is to acquire knowledge. It will get to a state. I pray we don't get there, but the way at which crime is growing, it will get to a state where it's likely to get to a state where they will tell you that if you don't get a cybersecurity awareness knowledge, you can't get employed. Corporate organizations are supposed to organize cybersecurity. It's supposed to be a mandatory field. It's supposed to be just the way when someone is applying for a job in the area of abilities, you're supposed to put cybersecurity awareness. You are aware.
All right.
We need to get that level of awareness. We've missed out of it completely. we've missed out of it completely. Another thing is that these criminals, they change their tactics every now and then. So we have to also be on the trend. We have to also watch out for new things that are happening.
All right. Thanks very much, Daniel. It's been a nice one being with you this afternoon. Thanks to you, our viewers. Thanks to you, our producers. Let's keep tuned. Let's stay tuned. Tomorrow we have another bumper edition on the Money Radio. Always be our guest. We'll continue to be with you and to bring you the information you need that will keep you abreast of things that you need to know to live a normal life, just as Daniel has educated us today. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Money Radio, discussing the business of making and spending money.